Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Rudy's Kitchen Express. It's Sunday, and in the traditional Italian household, Sunday means pasta. We're going to make it quick. Tomato sauce. I'm going to have a jar of passata. We're going to fry up some onion, oregano, salt and pepper, and some olive oil. For the dough, we've got 3 eggs, 4 cups of flour, half a cup of semolina. For the internal mixture, this is a meatloaf mix. It's 1/3 veal, 1/3 beef, and 1/3 pork. We're going to add in a few mushrooms. We've got some Parmigiano Reggiano, some frozen spinach, and some parsley. And that's it. Okay, so we made a little tower with that 4 cups of flour. You're gonna make a little well. Add in your half a cup of semolina. Okay. Crack 3 eggs. Now, there's no one way of making ravioli. There's people that use different types of filler. That's normal. Okay, to this, we're going to start to blend this in. And if you find that you have not enough liquid, add a little water. If you have too much liquid, add a little flour. There's no specific science. Depends on how big your eggs are. Okay, we've got this pretty much ready to go in the fridge. Now, I misjudged on the amount of flour, so I ended up adding 3 more eggs. So either cut down the flour mixture to 3 cups, 2.5, 3 cups, or add the eggs. But this is the consistency and the texture that you're looking for. Nice and pliable. We need some plastic wrap. Cover it up. Okay, and this is going to go in the fridge for about 30 minutes. While we're waiting for it to come together in the fridge, we're going to make our filling. Okay, now we need to make our filling. I use half of this onion. Use the other half for the sauce. Should be a fairly fine mince. Here we're going to work in that spinach. Now, this is very similar to how you would make meatballs. Like I said earlier, there's so many different things that you can put into ravioli as a filling. I've had it with pumpkin ravioli in the fall. That's really great. Seafood ravioli, you can use shrimp into the ravioli filling, but probably the most popular one is cheese, and ricotta cheese specifically. Put that into your meat mixture. Now we're going to add in some mushrooms. This is again optional. It depends on what you like to have. The mushrooms will give it more of an earthy flavor, meaty. It goes well with the meat. So you want pretty much a fine dice in all of the vegetables that you put in it, because you're not using a large amount in each ravioli. Okay, pre-ground about 1/3 of a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano. Oh, and I forgot to mention, we also want to put in some breadcrumbs as a binder, about 1/2 cup. Okay, this is where you get your hands dirty. Now I haven't added my salt and pepper yet. It's about 1/2 teaspoon. That's 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Okay, let this rest for a little while, let the flavors come together, and then we'll be making our pasta in the next segment. Okay, this has been in the fridge for about 1/2 hour. Cut it. Okay. Now we're going to put this through the machine. Start it at a wide setting. Okay, I'm going to go down a notch. Okay, this is really coming together. Put that on the last setting, which is about a 6. See, a little bit goes a long way. Now, typically, if you were making fettuccine or spaghetti, you'd want to have this dry, but we don't want to do that because we're going to need it to make the raviolis, and you want to use a dough that's a little wetter. There. Okay, we're ready to fill these. Okay, one thing now, before we finish our filling, my sister-in-law Mary taught me to get a little bit of it, fry it up. So we rolled out all of our dough. Now we're going to start to fill up the ravioli. Now these are going to cook in the water, so I flatten them out a little bit. I don't want a large ball, you know, to take longer to cook. Okay, then you put a little water. The water will help it stick. Okay, then you fold it over. Typically it's a crinkle cut, but we just have a pizza thing here. Crinkle cut will make it look a little fancier. Now you're going to take a fork and you're going to crimp it down. And then I put a little fork thing that will help to deflate it if there's air in there. Okay, as simple as that. We're going to do the rest of these, and then the next part is we're going to make our simple tomato sauce. All right, now it's time to make the sauce. So, like I said earlier, this is a very, very simple sauce. There's the rest of that, half of that onion in a saucepan. With some olive oil. 2 tablespoons. Pinch salt. Black pepper. You're only going to cook these onions until they're opaque. You don't want to get them to caramelize or anything. This adds a lot of, onions and tomato are a great combination. It has a lot of flavor. Add more olive oil. Now, one thing you can add would be garlic if you're interested in having some garlic, but I want a real simple sauce. Star of this show is the ravioli. Okay, those onions are coming along well. I'm using just one jar of passata. a little half a cup, not even, of water to get it all out. Okay. I've got some herbs, oregano, just about half a teaspoon. You want to bring that up to a slow simmer and cook it for about 15 minutes, and then it's done. The tomatoes are already cooked, but it's just, you want to just warm it up, bring down some of the liquid so that it's a little thicker, but you don't want a real thick sauce for this ravioli recipe. Like a thinner sauce is better. Okay, you can see the tomato sauce is on a slow simmer. It's almost on the slowest setting it can be, and you want that to simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. Certainly while you're cooking the ravioli. Okay, the next thing you do is you check it for seasoning. I think it needs some salt. I didn't put a lot. You can always add. Very difficult to take away. Just a few pinches. Also, the water is starting to boil. I want to give it a nice hearty couple of pinches of salt. Okay, we're going to start to, once it comes back up to a boil, we're going to start to drop our ravioli. Right. We have our water up to a nice rolling boil. Drop these in individually. We're going to do these in batches because we don't want to drop the temperature too much. Have a lid so that you can bring it back up to boil that much quicker. And when you come to the top, it takes about 3 minutes to cook, 3 to 4. As I said, we'll do it in batches until we have all this ravioli cooked. Okay, so it's been 3 or 4 minutes. We take these out, they'll be done. Okay, and we're going to put those in the oven at about 250 degrees while we wait for the next batches to be done. I'm going to drop in the next batch. Okay, so we're going to continue on until we cook all of our ravioli, and then we'll see you at the table. All right, we're putting in our next load. Now, you see how we've got this separated by parchment paper? That's because if you pile them on top of each other, they're going to stick. So that's a pro tip, is to make sure that you separate your ravioli and don't have them touching. Just have them in a single layer, separated by wax paper or parchment paper. Right. So the ravioli is finished. Put on the nice tomato sauce. Put on a little bit of Parmesan Reggiano. Piece of bread. My son made a loaf of bread today. And nothing better than to be with family on a Sunday dinner. And kids, what do we say before we eat? Buon appetito!